Welcome to the Carl Jackson Show podcast, your daily dose of objective truth in a world of confusion and lies. Guys, oh my goodness, there is so much news. It is Monday, May 20th. I think what we're going to do is literally break down several podcasts within a podcast. We're going to break them down and share all of them individually. So make sure you stay tuned for a different podcast that'll be popping up today or what have you. I appreciate all of you guys tuning in. I hope you had a wonderful weekend. Please don't forget to subscribe to the podcast wherever you go to get your podcast, Apple, Google, Spotify, YouTube, and Rumble. Por favor, follow me on all things social media at The Carl Jackson Show. All right, so Biden was pandering big time to the black community over the weekend. We've got some video that we're going to play for you. I'm going to explain to you why it isn't going to work. Now, I'm not on a bandwagon that Trump is going to get 30-40% of the black vote. But I do believe that his vote is going to increase just like it did in 2016 and 2020. I'll reiterate this later in the show. I'll share some numbers with you. The PJ Media had a great column that I want to share with you in regards to this. But you can see that the left is getting really nervous. Now, listen, guys, I want to be emphatically clear. I cannot stress this enough. Do not get lazy. Do not get lazy before the election cycle. Do not think that, Republicans don't need my vote. Yes. What this means is that the left is going to work even harder to try to rig and win the elections because they know that they cannot win based upon their policies. And one of the frustrations I have, even with the Republican Party, we're putting everything on Biden when truthfully what we should be doing is saying Biden is so dumb that what he's just laying everything out carte blanche. Is that the way? It's like a buffet of Democratic policies. He's doing everything the Democrat Party ever wanted to do. The problem is he's so dumb. He's doing it all up front. He's front loading their policies, so to speak, and it's destroying the polls. It's destroying the party. And so, we've got that miscellaneous news. You guys saw AOC and Marjorie Taylor Greene go over, go at each other over the weekend. Maybe I'll talk about that. I really don't think that's that big of a deal, but I know that's going to be clickbait for a lot of conservatives out there. And Lord knows I need help with numbers. So you guys make sure you subscribe to the podcast. So maybe I'll talk about it. But this is very important. This is and I'm so happy to hear this news. Again, I'm not going to blow smoke up your butt and say Trump is going to get 30% of the vote. But what I do believe these numbers pretend is that Joe Biden is not going to get 90% of the vote. And that's what's important, meaning I think a lot of voters are going to stay home. They're not going to be motivated by Biden. And I do think Trump will uptick. I do think he'll increase the black votership. Anyway, so this is more evidence of that, and you just can't hide it. Biden was on a tour this weekend, the National History Museum, Black National History Museum. He went to Morehouse College, obviously gave a commencement speech there. People turned their backs on him. We'll show you some video of that and some of the things that he had to say, invoking George Floyd and just spurting a bunch of non-racist nonsense that isn't going to work for 2024. That crap is not working. I'm telling you, it will not. Well, listen to me. It will not work. They can have riots in the street. It will not work. The prosecutions against Trump, or the persecutions, even if he gets convicted, they will not work because everybody sees what's going on and people are being impacted by these policies. So they're going to say, even if Trump is convicted, they may say, do I want a thug in the White House or do I want somebody that's destroying my life? You know what I'm saying? And I think the choice actually is pretty simple. But without further ado, I want to play this video. This is a gentleman that was on CNN. Here's what he had to say. He says Biden renews focus on black voters, tries to reverse a drop in support. It's not going to happen because the economy there isn't going to be any news that's going to get any better for the Democrat Party or for Joe Biden. So I want you to brace yourself. And I've said this for years. The only thing the left has is to make you mad and to make you angry. They want you to hate Republicans. They want you to hate America. They want you to believe the Democrat Party us that everybody's a victim and they'll be your champions against those big evil Republicans, those big evil conservatives, those big evil Christians, and now those big evil Jews. That's what's happening. Oh man! And do we have some news? I don't even give a flip what his name is. What is it? Ibrahim Raisi, the president of Iran, has gone down in a helicopter crash. Wink, wink. We'll talk about that. He got to meet the real God the other day, and I suspect that meeting didn't go very well. So we'll talk about that. As you can tell, I don't give a flip. All right. Anyway, let's go to. I'm sorry, man. I don't like the thought of people going to hell, but hell was created for certain people like Ibrahim Raisi. All right, let's go to, let's roll this video. Por favor, Gabe.
The drop off, right? Look, you look at 2024, Biden still leads among black voters over Donald Trump, 69% in an average of polls. But look at this number for Donald Trump, 22%. Where was Donald Trump at this point 4 years ago in the polls? He was just at 9% of the vote. So he's seen more than a doubling in his support among African Americans. This margin, which was in the 70s just 4 years ago, look at where it is now, 69 minus 22. That puts it in the 40s. My goodness gracious. If this held through the general election, obviously we're still months away, this would be by far the best performance for a Republican candidate among black voters in a generation, 2 generations, probably since 1960 and Richard Nixon against John F. Kennedy. That's how long we're really talking about when we're looking at this margin here. This could be a truly historic margin. It's quite a troubling sign for the Biden campaign, Sarah.
So where is Biden weakest among black voters? When you look at this number, who are they?
Yeah, who are these voters? And let's break it down by age, because I really think this gives you a good insight into what's exactly cooking here. Take a look here. If you look among black voters age 50 and over, you see that Joe Biden has a very substantial lead here. Look at this, 82% to 8%. This lead is still in the 70s. This looks a lot like what we saw in the overall polling back in 2020. But look at voters under the age of 50. Look here, Donald Trump is pulling 25% of that vote. Joe Biden is at just 62% of this. This lead, Sarah, this lead is south of 40 percentage points. This is historic. This is what a lot of folks have been talking about, that Joe Biden has a specific problem among younger black voters. And that is exactly what's showing up right here. And this is, I think, a lot of the reason why you're going to see Biden focusing more on black voters, why you're seeing Jim Clyburn go out there. Don't be surprised if they go to more colleges, because the fact of the matter is, older black voters still really much like Joe Biden. It's these younger black voters who very much are turning on him and being much more supportive of Donald Trump than they were 4 years ago.
Of course, this is not the only thing that Joe Biden has to worry about, although these numbers look pretty dire and very different than they did in the last election. So give us some sense of what else he needs to be thinking about here.
Right. You know, when we talk about elections, we talk about two things. We talk about persuasion, which we're seeing here with these changing margins, but we also talk about turnout. What's going on in turnout? Certain to vote. Black voters absolutely certain to vote. This is according to Washington Post Ipsos. If you look 4 years ago, 83% of black voters said they were absolutely certain to vote. Look where that number is now. It's 73%. So it's not just that Joe Biden's getting less juice out of the margins. He might have fewer black voters turning out and providing less support for him because they're going to be a smaller portion of the electorate.
One of the big things that the candidates have to worry about is whether people stay home, and that can be a huge factor.
And this is what this is saying may very well happen.
Harry?
All right, so that was the end of the video. This guy, I don't know who this guy is. I have his name somewhere in here. I do want to make sure. Enton, Harry Enton. He's a CNN data analyst, and his name is Harry Enton. I'm going to go back over some of the points that he made, and then I'm going to show you some video of Joe Biden catering to the black vote, pandering to the black vote. And again, I am telling you that this isn't going to work. And again, I please understand me. Do not get lazy. Do not be one of the. I see conservatives, and it's driving me nuts. Oh yeah, man, Biden is going to get this, or Trump is going to get this. Trump is going to get that. Don't do that, because what you may do is discourage other voters from coming out. Let people feel the pain. Just tell people to show up to the polls. If they want to improve their lives, if they want to improve the state of America, you incentivize them to show up to the polls. Now, I do think it's newsworthy, right, to cover the truth. Biden is slipping in the polls. Does that mean, and this is a very important point, because Trump is getting 22% of support in polls does not mean, listen to me, that does not mean that 22% of those people will show up and vote for Trump. There's a lot of time. There's a lot of time on the play clock. So you guys have to remember that. Having said that, again, let me reiterate that there is nothing that Joe Biden can do to improve the condition of black voters or frankly, anybody in his base, which that makes me nervous. Why? Because I fear that what the left wants to do is get people so riled up that they see more riots in the street like they saw in 2020. But it will have a negative impact if that happens because people know what that's about too. And you're not going to see people tolerating that crap, not in no red state. I can tell you that much. And people are just going to be like, is this what we have to worry about? Like we saw on those college campuses, that hurt the left too, with those pro-terrorist, riots going on college campuses, the anti-Jewish riots, pro-Hamas riots going on college campuses. The left, I don't even know to what end. I don't know what they tried to do with those. All they did is hurt the left, and I think made inroads for the conservative movement to say, yeah, this is exactly why we have to get rid of student loans, or federal student loans. This is exactly why we need to get rid of the Department of Education. This is why we need to change our educational system. All these people are being brainwashed. I want to get to some video of Joe Biden, and again, I'm here to tell you today that the pandering to the black community is not going to work. You can listen, that you can take to the bank. Pandering to the black community will not work for Joe Biden in 2024. It's over. It's done. It's finished. I'm not saying his presidency is done, but I'm saying Joe Biden, I don't think as many people are going to show up for him. I don't think anybody likes him. Nobody has ever been excited about Joe Biden. All right, guys, before I go on, though, I do have to talk to you about wealth protection research. At the very heart of our democracy lies a principle that we all hold sacred, and that is free speech. It's the cornerstone that supports every freedom that we cherish, allowing ideas to flourish, debates to ignite, and progress to be made. Without it, our pursuit of liberty, our ability to challenge, and our capacity to innovate would be severely constrained. Yet, in today's digital age, the very platform that should democratize information is being used to narrow the spectrum of ideas we're exposed to. Important discussions about our wealth, our rights, and our future are being systematically silenced or overshadowed in mainstream narratives, leaving many feeling voiceless in conversations that are crucial to our financial independence and our security. This is where wealth protection research comes in. All right. They're armed with a mission that's never been more critical. Wealth protection research is not a financial advisory firm. They are defenders of free speech. They're committed to giving a voice to the silence in an era where dialogues about retirement, investments, and economic freedoms are increasingly censored. Wealth protection research is focused on ensuring that diverse, controversial, and revolutionary ideas have a platform. Wealth protection research tirelessly seeks out the financial experts, the thought leaders, and the trailblazers who have been pushed to the margins by mainstream media and tech platforms like Facebook and Google. These are the voices that challenge prevailing narratives, offering fresh, often contrarian perspectives on protecting and growing your wealth, especially as we navigate the uncertainties of the 2024 election. By spotlighting these thinkers like Jim Rickards and Porter Stansberry, wealth protection research is not just sharing financial advice, they are fostering a movement towards a more open and informed and free society. Wealth protection research has created a 2024, listen to me, election wealth protection report. Now, this free report highlights the 3 best ideas for protecting and growing your money even heading into the 2024 election cycle. It contains the ideas the mainstream media won't touch, and listeners can get it free. All you have to do is text the word ideas, IDEAS, to 76626. All right. Plus, if you text the word ideas today, you'll also get a free gold investment kit from Wealth Protection Research that is sponsored by Augusta Precious Metals. Again, text the word ideas, IDEAS, to 76626. All right. So just to recap, because we're getting ready to go into these Biden videos real quick. All right. So Biden is trying to pander to the black vote. His numbers are sinking, polling wise, in the black community. I'm here to tell you there is nothing Joe Biden will be able to do before November to correct those numbers. Nothing. However, I am imploring you, do not get lazy. Don't assume that just because polls show Trump gets 22 support in polling, that will translate to 22% of the black vote. I will say this. His vote percentage among the black community will be higher, even if I don't believe the same number of people will show up for the 2024 election than the 2020 election. But who knows? Could be wrong. It hasn't happened yet. But pandering to the black community, going to Morehouse College and giving the commencement speech, trying to get people all hot and bothered and mad, and tell these college graduates, these privileged college graduates, you'll hear that. Guys, listen, you're going to hear some of these clips and you're going to be like, what is this fool talking about? It's absolutely insane. And in fact, I don't know why I'm still talking, but let me just say, poll numbers are bad within the black community for Joe Biden. They are not going to improve. Joe Biden is making the pandering tour to black communities across the nation, wherever he can get in to fit in. It won't work. Let's go ahead and roll the video. Por favor.
Today, you missed your high school graduation. You started college just as George Floyd was murdered, and there was a reckoning on race. It's natural to wonder if democracy you hear about actually works for you. What is democracy? If black men are being killed in the street, what is democracy? Betrayal of broken promises still leave black communities behind. What is democracy? You have to be 10 times better than anyone else to get a fair shot. And most of all, what does it mean, as we've heard before, to be a black man who loves his country, even if it doesn't love him back in equal measure?
Wow. And he gets an applause. Guys, okay. All right. I have to write down some notes for those of you that are watching. I'm asking you to please subscribe to our YouTube channel and Rumble. And I'm sorry, my brain is going. I'm literally trying to write some notes. Did he say a country that doesn't love you back? You love America, a country that doesn't love you back. Okay. All right. So I'm writing this down because I want to react to these things specifically. This is one of the this is one of the most evil clips, and this is one of the most evil clips I think I've ever heard from a president in modern in modern America. All right, modern day America, a country that doesn't love you back. I'm having a hard time getting over that, but I'm writing notes. Let me just address these before I do, guys. Good Lord, I'm going to need to. I'm going to be pondering a lot of this stuff. I'm thinking even into the evening. And so it's a good thing that we have My Pillow as a sponsor here. I want to encourage you guys to take advantage of the $25 extravaganza at mypillow.com. You guys know that Mike Lindell, although he's providing American jobs and American manufacturing, American products, he's been basically canceled by these shopping networks, by the big box stores. But as a result of that, he's passing the savings on to you via people like myself. All you have to do is go to mypillow.com, click on the radio podcast square, and enter my name, Carl, C-A-R-L, or give them a call at 800-858-0263. Also mention my name, Carl, C-A-R-L. You can take advantage of so many deals that are available. $25 extravaganza. The My Pillow slippers are $25. The My Pillow with the Giza fabric is $25. You got bath towel sets that are now $25. Dish towel sets that are now $25. $25 extravaganza. MyPillow.com, promo code Carl. Okay, so let me just address some of the things. First off, he talked about George Floyd being murdered. I want to sound off on that real quick. So Joe Biden says that George Floyd wasn't murdered. Guys, I encourage you, if you have not seen it, I am begging you to go out and see. I think the documentary is The Fall of Minneapolis. George Floyd wasn't murdered. George Floyd died of an overdose. The police officers even knew it. They decided to throw their colleagues under the bus. The doctor that did the autopsy on George Floyd decided to throw Derek Chauvin and their colleagues under the bus because they were scared of the rioting. They were scared what it would mean for their careers. But George Floyd was hopped up on fentanyl. His family got paid out. Everything that Derek Chauvin did was actually he was trained to do with the person that was hopped up on fentanyl. The paramedics were called almost immediately by Derek Chauvin and the other officers on the scene. They went to the store instead of coming to the location where George Floyd was at. And that was the critical time where George Floyd passed away, where he could have been saved. But he passed away of a fentanyl overdose. There was no evidence at all that his larynx or anything was crushed in his throat or anything like that. That was a technique that, the officers were trained to use, that Derek Chauvin was trained to use, and his superiors lied about it on the stand. It was all a setup. And you had Keith Ellison, the attorney general, out there saying there was no evidence of racism that occurred in this case. Otherwise, he would have stepped it up to a hate crime. So you've got an innocent man in Derek Chauvin in jail. All right, so that's that. But and you know what, Biden, they all know this. They don't care because they need the black vote, right? But they need the black vote to stay dependent on the Democrat Party and to stay poor. So he asked the black community, the black students at Morehouse, does democracy work for you? Does democracy? You got to work 10 times harder than a black. No, you don't. Have you heard of affirmative action? Have you heard of DEI? Have you heard of CRT? It is a damn lie that black people have to work 10 times harder. The sad truth is nowadays you see black people like, what's that chick Crockett that's in AOC. Well, she's not black, but Latino. Cori Bush, dumb as hell, sitting in Congress. Why? DEI, CRT. They've been told they're victims. White people have felt are being trained to feel guilty about racism that they had absolutely nothing to do with, and people are elevating. Black people are elevating to positions they do not deserve because of their skin color, not because of their capability. That isn't to say that we don't have black people that are smart enough to excel in those positions. We do. And those smart black people can compete with anybody, white, Asian, it does not matter. And that's the way you grow equality and fairness across the spectrum. This jackass, I cannot stand this man. He is an evil, I can't stand this man. Of course, democracy. These people are privileged. They're in the best country ever. The best country ever. As a matter of fact, we got video of slaves being traded in the Congo this year by other Africans. We'll show you. Does democracy work for you? To a bunch of freaking college graduates. You're damn right it works for you. You got to work 10 times harder. What a damn lie. You can work 10 times less as hard today and excel at being black, sadly, because of DEI and CRT. A country that doesn't love you back. You got the president of the United States pandering to the black community, and he's got the audacity to tell black people that they're living in a country that doesn't love them back when the freaking white president of the United States is kissing their ass. Excuse my language. God, man, I hate this guy. God help me. All right, I need some prayer. Gabe, go ahead and roll the video.
Today in Georgia, they won't allow water to be available to you while you wait in line to vote in an election. What in the hell is that all about? I'm serious. Think about it.
Won't allow water. Okay, so nobody, all right, so if you're on a political campaign, if you're volunteering for a political campaign, you can't go up to anybody in line, all right? You can't go up to anyone in line and hand them food, bottle of water, trinkets, nothing. Why? because you're seeing as bribing that voter. Republicans can't do it. Democrats can't do it. And frankly, that law existed in Georgia. It was passed in Georgia. You know what happened as a result of that law passing? More minorities, more blacks voted. What a racist bigot. What a racist bigot. Oh, man. I cannot believe this is where we are. But this is, people are tired of this crap, you know? All right. Roll this video. You guys want to see slavery? You guys want to see people that even if they work 10 times harder won't get ahead? This is the slave trade that's happening in the Congo. These are people that they're wanting to ship to these mines, you know, so that you liberals out there and you people that claim you want to save the planet so you can drive your EVs. This is what's happening in the Congo as a result of that. You have men and women alike with their heads shaved. I think blue, and I think they have blue trunks, white T-shirts, but you can't tell them apart because all of them have their head shaves. And these guys are selling them all to do work in the mines. Let's go ahead and roll the video. Let's see what that looks like. Real slavery today. Yeah, these are African militants in the Congo. Picking through them, instructing them what to do. Laughing. Look at them. Hear them laughing? I can't even watch this crap. Cut it off. I can't even watch. That's slavery. Let's cut it. Let's cut it. Let's cut it. I can't even watch that crap. That's slavery that exists today. I wish I had a machine gun to shoot every single one of those mofos. God help me, man. I cannot take it. You realize how blessed you are to live in the United States if you have dark skin? I can't take it. And then you have some Morehouse graduates that turn their back on Joe Biden. I didn't bring any video of that. Turn their back with their fists raised like they're really suffering something. They probably went through some a social studies program, got some social studies degree or something like that. African American studies to make them mad for the rest of their lives. Those will be the people that will be writing about how slavery has impacted them while they're making six-figure salaries off of it, off of keeping blacks oppressed. I mean, this stuff is just insane. So again, just to reiterate, and we'll close this out. This is what the Joe Biden administration is worried about. You saw at the beginning, CNN analyst Harry Anton was absolutely surprised to see the numbers that could only be described as the understatement of the year. This, according to PJ Media. But you heard Anton say that this was a troubling sign for Biden's reelection. Guys, listen, the left has a machine. So again, I would encourage you, don't rest on your laurels. But Anton conceded, as you saw earlier, that Trump could achieve potentially a historic level of support from black voters as Biden's approval ratings continue to drop. And this is less than 6 months to go before the November election. Again, Anton pointed out that the latest polling average shows Biden's backing among black voters plummeting by 12%. Guys, that's huge. They got to stay over the 90 percentile. They got to keep at least 90% of blacks brainwashed in order to win the black vote. And the Democrats party needs that. Trump's support has doubled to 22%, not quite, right? But he got 8% in 2016. He got 12% in his 2020 reelection. So one could only assume that number might increase. And I do suspect it will, although 22% seems really high to me now. Don't get me wrong. I hope he gets it. I'm just not going to count on it. I'm going to keep fighting to make sure that we win the House, the Senate, and the White House, Lord willing. But here's what Annan said, just to reiterate, my goodness gracious, I'm quoting him, this would be by far the best performance for a Republican candidate among black voters in a generation, 2 generations, probably since 1960 and Richard Nixon against John F. Kennedy. That's how long we're really talking about when we're looking at this margin here. This could be a truly historic margin. It's quite a troubling sign for the Biden campaign. I think that's a clarion call too. I think that's a clarion call because he's a lefty if he's working at CNN. So, hey, black people, make sure you tell your kids you're not buying them. You're not paying for their Morehouse College if they if they don't vote for Biden. All right. He says this is historic. This is what a lot of folks have been talking about, that Joe Biden has been a specific problem among young black voters. And that is exactly That is exactly what is showing up right here. The polls are, as he mentioned, Inton did. Black voters 50 years old and older are still backing Biden at 82%. However, younger black voters between 18 and 49 years old show a stunning 25% support for Donald Trump. Now, support does not necessarily mean votes. All right. So just keep that in mind. But the numbers, I suspect, will grow. But also something that the left has to be concerned about. If the black vote isn't motivated to come out for Joe Biden in an election year, right, in a presidential election year, that will impact down ballot races. All right. So even though the Republican Party, I got to tell you, just sucks in the House right now, and the leadership as well, in my opinion, I know we only have 1/3 of the House. We also have the power of the purse, doggone it, and you can use it for more leverage than we have. All right. So, but it'll affect down ballot races. And these younger voters, according to Anton, he said, are very much turning on him, meaning Biden, and being much more supportive of Donald Trump than they were 4 years ago. And the support for Trump, it continues to grow. 8% in 2016, 12% in 2020. So you can only suspect that they'll continue to grow. All right, guys, listen, I jammed a lot in there, but I appreciate you tuning in to this edition of the Carl Jackson Show podcast. Please share this podcast far and wide. Subscribe to the podcast wherever you go to get your podcast, Apple, Google, Spotify, YouTube, and Rumble. I will be on the Officer Tatum Show tonight, so check me out there. Guys, don't forget my t-shirt store, carljacksonmerch.itemorder.com, carljacksonmerch.itemorder.com. Don't forget your wealth protection report. Text the word ideas to 76626. Don't forget My Pillow, $25 extravaganza. Mother's Day just passed. Father's Day is coming up. Maybe there's some loved one, graduation gift or something you want to peruse the site, mypillow.com. Check it out. Guys, until next time, don't grow weary doing good. God bless you.